I'll be tracking that dangerous storm moving east this morning following another round of tornadoes that have left at least 5 people dead. I'll tell you where this storm is headed next. Also this morning, the new potential trouble for Donald Trump as former Vice President Pence moves closer to testifying about January 6th. Those stories and so much more coming up right here on GMA.
Happening today, city leaders temporarily doing away with curfew at certain parks for the Easter holiday weekend. Starting tonight at 11 p.m., curfew will be lifted at many parks, and they'll resume Easter Sunday at 11 p.m. One woman's trip to Iran ended with the urge to help those in need. We'll tell you what she's doing to help ahead in our next hour of GMSA. Plus, we'll tell you about a new sleep study showing what you're at risk for if you have problems sleeping at night. And right now we're tracking wet roads around San Antonio. Showers and storms are working their way back into the Alamo City area as we speak. Stephen and Justin have done a marvelous job keeping us updated on radar and the roads, and we'll talk to them again coming up.
Let's look out there with live cam. We're starting at a cool 52 degrees. We had a lot of rain overnight and looking to have more rain throughout the day.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning to you. It is Thursday. It is April 6th, and I heard showers and storms starting at 2 this morning, and we're not quite done yet.
That's right. It was pretty loud. Usually I sleep through everything, but this one woke me up.
All right, let's get an update on how things are looking out there. Justin is in for Mike, and wow, radar is active behind you there.
Yeah, it's busy. We've got a lot going on. Nothing severe, thankfully, but this is just good heavy rain in most cases. We did see some severe weather last night. Not really seeing that this morning. We're just getting pockets of heavy rain and some lightning and thunder, too. We're noticing some flood advisories being posted down to the south where the heavy rain is south of Pleasanton and around the city of San Antonio. Heaviest rain right now is on the northwest side, but we'll continue to see these showers and storms pulling through this morning, and you could pick up a quick half-an-inch rain with some of this heavier activity, and we know it will be fairly active, the radar, even into the afternoon. So good chances of rain today. I'll take you outside. We've got wet roads right now. This is 410 and I-10. The rain is coming down. There could be some ponding on the roadways where some of that heavier activity is as well. 54 right now at the airport, and I will remind you, it's going to be a cool day. Temperatures will probably hang right there in the mid-50s. You saw just the lightning flash there, but holding in the mid-50s throughout the rest of your Thursday. So it's jacket and umbrella. You'll need both today. 80% chance rain at 9 o'clock, 53. We're only up around 55 or so this afternoon. And that 80% chance of rain, well, we keep it all the way through the forecast. And in fact, we've got good rain chances again tomorrow, too. This is some of the best rain we've seen in a while. We'll take it. We just don't want the flooding, and we'll certainly keep tabs on that. And if there are any advisories or anything like that, we'll keep you posted throughout the morning. It is going to be busy on the roadways this morning. People will likely be taking it slow. Let's check in with Stephen now and see how the morning commute is shaping up.
Yeah, that's always the best way to go, Justin. But let's get a look here at 10 East at Loop 410. Unfortunately, another crash picked up on our radar. Actually, I'll step out of this shot so you can see our friends at TransGuide tend to do this whenever we have an incident that pops up. They'll scope the camera around and then they'll zoom in, and you can see that traffic is building out there. They do this so we can get some information on the conditions of what we're seeing. Obviously, it does look like we have heavy traffic through the area. At this point, we do know it's a crash that's been reported, but details are unclear right now. We'll work to confirm a few more of that a little bit later. As always, we hope everyone is doing okay out there, but you can see traffic is already building up through the area. So let's go ahead and take a look right over here. Again, the crash reported at Loop 410 at I-10. Now, TxDOT actually has 2 areas that this is reported in, both the north and southbound lanes of 410. So we'll have to work to find out which direction that is happening. But from what we're looking at the map, it does appear that could just be located in the northbound lanes of 410 as you approach I-10 there. So an area that we'll have to watch very closely throughout the morning. But another spot that has been on our radar is over here at I-35 northbound at Loop 410. That access road is where we have an 18-wheeler that rolled over a little bit earlier in the morning. Now, the good news here is that we know that no injuries were associated with this crash, but we do know that speed was a factor into how this happened. So take it slow, as Justin mentioned. That's what we really want for you guys. The commute is shaping up to be a wet one already, so just take it easy out there. We're going to continue to watch this area closely. I'm going to step out of the studio here in the next few minutes to speak to our friends at TransGuide, but it does look like such a mess out there. Let's hope everyone's doing okay, and we'll work to bring you some information a little bit later on. Mark, Seth.
Thank you. Homicide investigators say they want to know more from a woman who they believe was involved in a deadly shooting overnight. They are questioning her downtown about the death of a man at a Northwest Side apartment complex.
Trina Weber is live on Northwest Crossroads, and that's not far from Loop 410 and Culebra Road. Katrina, you mentioned earlier there was a child in the home when this all happened. Have you found out anything more?
Yeah, I spoke briefly with police, and they said that the child was a baby, actually a baby that has now been placed with other family members. Now, police wrapped up their investigation, but they still have just one officer here, as you can see, sort of keeping an eye on the portion of the building where this happened. But we have some video to show you as well. This happened just before 3 o'clock this morning. Police were called to these apartments here in the 1500 block of Northwest Crossroads, again, near Culebra Road and Loop 410. They say in the ground floor apartment, that is where the shooting happened. Now, there was some sort of a dispute, they say, apparently involving a woman and a man, and they believe that the woman is the one who may have fired the shots. The man was killed. They estimate he's in his 30s or 40s. And again, that woman is downtown being questioned right now. I did ask detectives if she was a suspect in this case, if she's considered a suspect. At 12 News.
After just 4 hours, a local jury convicted Jimmy Tran of capital murder. Tran has been on trial for the 2019 robbery of 22-year-old Andres Salinas. After the verdict was read, Judge Cristina Escalona automatically sentenced Tran.
Anything that can help, you're asked to call the Comal County Crime Stoppers. So that number is on your screen right now. That is 830-620-8477.
Lots of questions at Brandeis High School after someone found a hidden camera inside a room that girls in the ROTC program used to change clothes. It's actually junior ROTC. Northside ISD tells us a junior ROTC instructor found the camera last month. It was a GoPro camera. It contained 10-minute videos showing 11 female junior ROTC students as they changed. District spokesperson Barry Perez said none of the clips showed pictures or video of any girls fully nude. A tentative settlement has been reached between the families of the victims in the Sutherland Springs mass shooting and the U.S. Justice Department.
The Justice Department will reportedly pay the victims and their families more than $144 million. Now, 26 people were killed when the shooter opened fire during a service at First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs. Before that attack, the shooter had served in the Air Force.
A U.S. district judge previously ruled the Air Force was 60% liable for the attack because the military failed to submit the gunman's assault conviction during his time in the Air Force to a national database. Justice Department said the settlement is still subject to court approvals. Now to the special counsel probe into the alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election and the January 6th Capitol attack.
Former Vice President Mike Pence says he will comply with the grand jury subpoena to testify.
He says he will not challenge a federal judge's order compelling his cooperation. ABC's Justin Finch has more from Washington.
This morning, former Vice President Mike Pence appearing poised to provide documents and testimony in the Justice Department special counsel probe into January 6th. That day, a mob scouring the Capitol for Pence as former President Donald Trump pressured him. Trump's attorneys fought to block Pence's compliance with the special counsel subpoena, arguing executive privilege. Pence, at first, openly resisting.
I will fight the subpoena from Biden's DOJ.
Then telling ABC's Jonathan Karl last month,
I'm going to stand firm on the Constitution of the United States. We'll let the courts sort that out.
Now, Pence's office saying he will not appeal the judge's ruling and will comply with the subpoena as required by law. a subpoena that could position Pence as a star witness in the special counsel investigation into alleged efforts by Trump and allies to overturn the 2020 election results. Pence questioned by ABC's David Muir.
Did you ever point blank say to the president, I will not do this, I will not intervene, we lost this election?
I did, David, many times.
Fast forward to this week. Trump arraigned on 34 felony counts in connection to a hush money payment scheme involving adult film actress Stormy Daniels just before the 2016 election. Trump now the focus of a series of crucial inquiries, a Georgia grand jury election interference probe, and 2 in New York State, one alleging fraud at the Trump Organization and the other investigating money laundering at his Truth Social platform. As for Pence, his testimony could be weeks away unless Trump's lawyers try again to block it. Pence's team says he will comply with the court's decisions. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
The Biden administration is planning on tightening pollution controls on coal-fired power plants. The Environmental Protection Agency is proposing a new rule that would slash mercury and other pollution from the plants by up to 70%. It would also require them to monitor emissions in real time and supply that data to the EPA. The newly proposed regulation would be the strongest update to mercury restrictions since 2012.
If you have problems sleeping, then you may be at a higher risk for having a stroke. That's according to a new study published Wednesday in the Journal of Neurology. Researchers found that those who have slept less than 5 hours a night on average were 3 times more likely to have a stroke than those who got the recommended minimum amount of about 7 hours a night. Experts say practicing good sleep hygiene, eating a healthy diet, and getting regular exercise is the best way to reduce your risk of having a stroke. Right now, 6:10 at 52 degrees.
GPS mobile app Waze is now allowing customers to customize their drive. We're going to tell you what all that includes still ahead.
Rain is in the forecast, and that has some farmers worried here in South Texas. Next, what too much rain could do for strawberry farmers down in Poteet.
Look out there with live cam this morning. Starting cold, you can see kind of raindrops there in your shot already with a busy night, and we're looking forward to having rain today as well. We're going to be checking in with Justin for all those details coming up.
Drought, but Poteet farmers are caught up in a catch-22. Too much hard rain and hail could harm the fruit and plants. Many of them have spent the entire weekend and part of this week picking strawberries from the field.
The berries that ripen throughout all the heat that we just had on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're just going to kind of roll the dice and see what happens. I know a lot of people picked today. We talked to a lot of the farmers in the meeting that we were just in. A lot of them picked today just to try to salvage and get whatever money they can out of them.
The Edwards Aquifer Authority says the expected rain is a good way to help recharge the aquifer, especially for counties out west who are in need of the rainfall.
And we're looking at some problems over there at I-35 at New Laredo Highway. Let's check in with our Stephen Cavazos.
Yes, big problems there, Steph. Check it out. I'm going to actually step out of the camera shot. Very wet area over there at 35 at New Laredo Highway, but what you can see what looks like an 18-wheeler big rig that actually looks like it's out on the guardrail. So obviously the conditions are wet out there. It's not a pretty sight. We see first responders are on the scene. I stepped out and spoke to our friends at TransGuide. They really want to focus on a lot of these areas where we tend to see incidents like this that pop up. So we want to watch this area very closely as well. Hopefully everyone's doing okay out there, but sometimes these things take a little while to clear up. Let's go ahead and take you to the map because unfortunately the area looks like traffic's moving down just to one lane, and that's why we are seeing a buildup that is happening here at 35 southbound at New Laredo Highway. We're probably going to see a little bit more activity out there, probably even stretch into the red, which is not a good sign because we know people who may be heading out of town taking 35 will encounter some delays. And so just be careful. We'll send a push alert momentarily, but I do want to take you back over here to 410 on the city's east side. Now, this is what we worked to confirm. Earlier, our friends at TransGuide were scoping the camera around. We have a pretty busy scene out there. There's actually 2 crashes reported, one in the southbound lanes that's actually taking place on the shoulder and the other on the northbound lane. So not a pretty sight, and that's why we have a big buildup. And actually, pardon me, the crash that's on the shoulder lane is actually in the northbound lanes. And again, that's why we have a pretty big buildup of traffic out there. Not a pretty shot, but an area that we will watch very closely throughout the morning. morning. Now let's go ahead and jump up here because we still have that 18-wheeler rollover that first responders are working to clear up. It's taken them quite a while. Now, again, the good news is no injuries were reported here, but we do know that speed was a factor in a cause of this crash. So roads are wet out there. Take it slow. It's not a pretty morning right now, guys, but scan this QR code and it takes you to our KSAT traffic page. We have a full list of all the current closures, but not just that. Again, the big focus will be some of these incidents that are popping up on the roadways. Pardon me, it's just, again, it's shaping up to be quite a busy morning. Wondering if we can get one last shot here at 35 at New Laredo Highway where we do have that trailer. Yeah, that doesn't look good. So remember, this is in the southbound lanes and it's going to impact the commute. We'll work to look for some solutions as well.
Thank you, Stephen.
Will it cause problems throughout the day, the rain?
It will. I mean, I think we're going to see situations like this all day long because we'll get some of these heavier pockets of rain. They cause ponding on the roadway, and it's easy to hydroplane in those situations. So we got to be careful out there. Here's the live radar, and I want to show you kind of the corridor where the heaviest of the rain is right now. If you're watching from Uvalde or Eagle Pass or Del Rio, you're probably saying, well, where's the rain? We have not seen it yet across our western counties. I do think we'll start to see some development a little bit later this morning. The main corridor has been just sort of west of San Antonio and then over to DeWitt and Lavaca counties where we're seeing some lightning strikes. This corridor here is where heaviest of the rain has been, but we're starting to see some of the heavier rain develop right over the city of San Antonio. So let's zoom in a little bit closer to the city and I'll show you where the heaviest rain is at the moment. And it has been widespread. We've seen pockets of heavy rain all over San Antonio, but right at this moment, it's 281 and 1604, where we have a nice thunderstorm working through. It's pretty electrical too. So if you're watching from Stone Oak, you're hearing it right now in some very heavy rain. This is the kind of situation where your windshield wipers are going to be going full blast here, and you're going to want to take it slow driving through this kind of rainfall. And we've done this a couple times this morning, but let's look at some of the rainfall rates, and I'll show you just how heavy the rain is. Where you see that purple color right there at 1604 and 281, we're seeing nearly 4 inches per hour, and that's a pretty good rainfall rate. If this thunderstorm were to sit there for 1 hour, you would pick up 4 inches of rain. Now it's not going to because it's moving right along, but a quick ½ inch to an inch, it's possible. We've seen only 1/10 of an inch so far at the airport, but we're going to continue to add to that today. And there certainly have been some places where the rainfall has been fairly heavy. That includes Lavernia last night, which got hit with some severe weather, some larger hail in Seguin too. So this is the latest view. We've got some flood advisories down to the south in between Pleasanton and Kennedy. We've seen some very heavy rain. It's still a pretty heavy storm there right now, southwest of Falls City. This is where that flood advisory is posted. Not a warning, but an advisory to let you know there's going to be some places on the roadways where the rain may pile up. And one more big view here. And what I'll also do is switch this over to estimated rainfall, and I'll give you an idea of where the heavy rain has fallen thus far. And it is right in that corridor where they have the flood advisories. If you look there, this is some good rainfall. Rainfall we have not seen, by the way, in a long time, estimating 5 to 6 inches now in this corridor between Pleasanton and Karnes City. So yes, there could certainly be some street flooding, especially along Highway 37 or Interstate 37, I should say. If you're headed south, you're going to run into some very heavy rain. And then north of that, we've also seen some heavy rain in this corridor between Lavernia and up towards this Seguin area, maybe up to an inch of rain there. In San Antonio, the numbers are a little bit less, but starting to add up, and hopefully we will get some good rain in the rain gauge today. Here's a look at some of the hail that fell around Lavernia last night up towards Seguin. It was fairly large. There were some severe storms last night. We're not seeing the severe weather today, but we could see 1 or 2 strong storms. Certainly can't rule that out. Throughout the day, good widespread rain, about an 80% chance. This is 5 o'clock today. Even the commute could be affected. That'll be the case going into tomorrow morning, although this shows a little bit of a break, but showers will fill back in during the day tomorrow. A 70% chance of rain on your Friday. For today, temperatures stay pretty steady in the low to mid 50s. Rain most of the day, at least off and on. It's not going to be raining all day, but intermittent showers and storms and a good northeasterly wind, which will keep it pretty chilly. As far as total rainfall overall, 1 to 3 inches can be expected here in San Antonio. But as you saw, there will be some pockets with heavier totals. 57 tomorrow, but 70 Saturday, Easter Sunday, 74. It does clear out, and Easter Sunday should be pretty nice. We'll have some more small rain chances Monday and Tuesday.
A little bit, but not too bad.
Yeah, it's the big show will be today and tomorrow.
Thank you, Justin.
Buckle up, folks. 622, 52 degrees.
GPS mobile app Waze has some new updates, how it will allow customers to customize their drive. That's coming up next.
I have moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Now there's Skyrizi.
I've got symptom relief. Control of my Crohn's means everything to me. Control is everything to me.
Feel significant symptom relief with Skyrizi, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements at 4 weeks. Skyrizi is the first and only IL-23 inhibitor for Crohn's that can deliver both clinical remission and endoscopic improvement. The majority of people on Skyrizi achieve long-lasting remission at 1 year.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to. Liver problems may occur in Crohn's disease.
Ask your gastroenterologist how you can take control of your Crohn's with Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
In this morning's GMA First Look, it's the legal battle of the bowls.
You see me making your chicken. This is going to be in your bowl.
Chipotle Mexican Grill filing a lawsuit in California against salad chain Sweetgreen, alleging Sweetgreen's new Chipotle Chicken Burrito Bowl violates Chipotle's trademark rights.
Certainly the name Chipotle is in this new Sweetgreen bowl. And if you think about it, Chipotle has become very synonymous with this type of bowl.
Chipotle claiming Sweetgreen's very similar and directly competitive bowl is an attempt to capitalize on their brand, arguing the competitor's ad uses the same font and style as Chipotle's branding and features a similar color to their trademarked adobo red.
They have cause to be concerned.
So what does this mean for the future of both restaurants? It's all coming up at 7 a.m. With your GMA First Look, I'm Will Reeve, ABC News, New York.
Waze is making it easier to customize your drive. Users can now change their app theme and select from a number of voices to serve as navigators, including singers Kalani and Boy George. There's also a Zodiac theme where you select mood icons and vehicles to match your sign.
Google wants to help users delete app accounts more easily, so it says Android apps found in the Play Store must let users delete accounts and purge the data inside the app and on the web. The new policy will not be fully implemented until June of next year.
Right now, 626, 52 degrees.
It's a story about one woman's journey to help underserved communities, still ahead how she's helping and what inspired her.
And checking the roads with TransGuide, from rough to really rough out there on the roads in many spots. Here's our latest incident. 35 at New Laredo Highway, and that rig is definitely, I guess the word would be askew. All right, we'll talk to Stephen coming up.
A man has been shot dead, and San Antonio police want to know why. They say they're questioning a woman about this. Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. I'll have the latest on that story coming up.
Showers and thunderstorms were already in the forecast for overnight into this morning. We've already seen one round. We have more in the area right now. It is affecting traffic as well. And we've got complete coverage coming up with our traffic and weather experts. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, April 6th.
Thanks for joining us. Hope you had a good week so far. And it's been a busy morning for Justin Horn and our Stephen Cavazos. Justin checking the weather and Stephen with the roadways. And I understand that it'll still be like that when our kiddos get out of school in the afternoon.
You're right. So it's affecting the morning commute. It's affecting drop off. It's going to affect pickup and the evening commute, too. So this is pretty much an all day thing. It's not going to be raining all day, but you're going to see these passing thunderstorms and passing heavy rain from time to time. Lightning and thunder will be out there, too. So just be aware of that. Just about everyone has received rain at this point here in San Antonio at one time or another. And we're still seeing these pockets of heavy rain moving through. Here's the good news. We haven't seen any severe weather this morning. We did see that last night with some larger hail, but I think the severe weather threat is winding down. This is mostly just good rain, and we can handle that as long as we don't see any flooding. And so far, that hasn't been much of an issue yet either. It could be in spots, especially south of San Antonio, and we'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. But I wanted to show you the radar here around San Antonio. Still some showers and storms here on the north side along 281, seeing some lightning strikes there. few showers and storms over downtown, and we're seeing more gathering to the south, which means we're going to have more coming in here over the next hour or so. As we look outside for you, wet roads and 53 degrees. It's chilly out there. We've got a northerly wind too at 12 miles per hour. It is definitely jacket weather, and it really does not warm up much from what we're seeing right now. KSAT 12-hour forecast, 70 to 80% chance of rain, and temperatures stay right there in the mid-50s all day long. That's well below average. And we'll see good rain chances going into tonight around dinner time and even into tomorrow. There are more showers in the forecast. We're going to go all around the area with the radar coming up here in just a few minutes. We'll talk about rainfall totals as well, but we got to get over to Stephen. Not one, but two crashes in the same place?
That's right, Justin, and not the only ones we are monitoring. Hey, quick reminder, we just set a push alert right now, so make sure you have your KSAT mobile app downloaded along with your notifications turned on, because we will let you know about incidents like this right behind me at 35 at New Laredo Highway, so know before you go. Now, this is not a good situation. As you can see, we have that big rig, as Mark said. Looks like it almost went off the guardrail there. I'm not sure of any injuries at this point. We always hope everyone's doing okay, but it does look like traffic is getting by in just one lane, which is why we see that there's a delay taking place. But we've also noticed that it looks like there is a King Kong wrecker out there working to help that driver out and get it back on the roadways. But of course, we know it's a wet commute, so we're going to see incidents like that pop up if drivers aren't careful. 35 southbound at New Laredo Highway is where that particular crash has been reported. We do have a buildup. Now, the good news here, guys, it's not a major buildup just yet, but it is the start of morning rush. Take your time, because we're starting to see some incidents pop up. Incidents, that is. But let me take you over here to the east side, where we talked about these two crashes that Justin mentioned. The one of them detected in the southbound lanes really isn't causing any major issues, but the one in the northbound lanes near I-10 seems to be causing a big delay for drivers out there. So watch out as the commute does get rolling. We have been keeping a very close eye on that area as well. In fact, our TransGuide friends were able to scroll the camera around and detect those two crashes out there. So big thanks to them. And also, first responders have had their hands full over here, guys. 18-wheeler rollover. Now remember, this was reported way earlier in the morning. The good news is no injuries were associated with this crash, but unfortunately we are learning from first responders on the scene that the driver was speeding and it led to a big crash out there, but thankfully no injuries reported. But this is along the Axis Road, and they have been working to clear that up for some time. But back here at 35 at New Laredo, I can guarantee you this is going to linger around for quite a while, so plan your commute ahead of time. I even sent an email out to our KSAT fam here, letting them know, hey, if you're commuting to the station this morning, take your time. We want you to arrive on time, of course, but always safely. Guys.
I saw that. Thank you, Stephen. Very nice of you. Top story, San Antonio police have made an arrest in connection to the murder of a John Jay High School student. It happened at a restaurant on San Antonio's west side 2 days ago.
Our Alyssa Cole joins us live from Public Safety Headquarters. And Alyssa, who has been arrested?
Yes, police have arrested 18-year-old Jesus San Miguel. He was arrested on yesterday and booked as well yesterday for the Bexar County Jail. Now, back on Tuesday, Miguel and the 18-year-old victim, Joshua Eugene Kinnaman, were walking out of a West Side San Antonio restaurant when a fight broke out, like you all mentioned. During the debacle, Miguel pulled out a knife and stabbed Kinnaman to death, striking him on the right side of his torso. The suspect was found later that day, but according to police records, he was arrested on yesterday. A Bexar County judge charged Miguel with murder during an arraignment and set his bond at $150,000. His first court hearing is scheduled for May 9th. Reporting live outside of the Public Safety Headquarters downtown, Alyssa Cole, KSAT 12 News.
And San Antonio police have stopped short of calling it a murder, but they say it does appear someone else shot and killed a man on the city's northwest side overnight.
Katrina Weber is live where it happened at an apartment complex on Northwest Crossroads, not far from 410 and Culebra. If someone shot him, why are they not calling this a murder?
The police are still trying to sort out exactly what happened here. So they're not calling this a murder just yet. They say they don't know whether something else may have come into play, such as perhaps self-defense or what, but they still need to sort out exactly what happened. Now, that part of the investigation happening at another location, because right now all we have is just one officer here who seems to be keeping an eye on the apartment where it happened. It's just back in that breezeway there. But let me give you a look at the video so you can see exactly what we were dealing with earlier this morning. This goes back to before 3 o'clock this morning, and that's when police got the call here to the preserve at Westover Hills Apartments. In a ground floor apartment, they say that is where the shooting happened. There was a man, woman, and baby in the apartment at the time. The man is the one who was killed. They believe he was in his 30s or 40s. And police now have the woman in custody who they are questioning about exactly what went wrong. They did tell us initially that they believed there was some sort of a dispute. But again, all of this still under investigation. They say the baby who was in the apartment at the time of the shooting has been turned over to relatives and is being cared for relatives. That baby was not hurt at all in the shooting. Reporting live on the northwest side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
A massive storm system is on the move right now after yet another tornado outbreak. The radar showing a line of severe weather stretching from the deep south all the way to western New York State. At least 6 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert with more.
This morning, the severe weather marching across the country, turning more deadly. The mayor of Louisville, Kentucky, says at least 1 person died after a tornado hit the area. Extensive damage reported, including this home with a new listing sign out front, split in half by a fallen tree.
We did not hear that tree fall. Never did.
Nearly a dozen tornadoes have been reported over a 48-hour period spawned by a long cold front stretching from the Gulf of Mexico to Lake Erie. In southeast Missouri, a tornado packing 130-mile-per-hour winds hit Bollinger County, killing at least 5 people. The National Weather Service says the tornado was apparently on the ground for 15 minutes, traveling about 20 miles.
You can hear something, just a roaring coming. You can hear trees popping, everything like that.
Keith Lincoln and his wife took shelter in their bathtub before the twister tore apart their home.
What were you thinking? Thinking about, good Lord, please help us. My wife's praying, save us, save the house, everything like that, and basically, he did.
Yeah, you guys made it.
Yes, we sure did.
At least 68 people have been killed by tornadoes in the U.S. this year, only 2 shy of what we see on average for an entire year. And scientists say the U.S. is seeing a shift in tornado activity. A recent study found the frequency of tornadoes in the area known as Tornado Alley from Texas to Nebraska has decreased in recent decades, while the number of tornadoes has increased in the southeast from Louisiana to Alabama. The study suggests the shift east is due to changes in atmospheric patterns and climate.
Meanwhile, parts of the upper plains and Midwest have been dealing with heavy snow. It's so cold in Minnesota, the Twins' home opener had to be postponed. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Time check, 6:39, 50 degrees.
One woman's trip to Iran ended up with her focused on helping kids right in her own backyard. After the break, her story and how you can help. And welcome back at 6:43. As families continue to recover from the effects of the pandemic, there are currently more than 11 million children living below the poverty line.
Leslie Hudson introduces us to a woman whose own experiences in Iran led her to bring together a group of mothers to help those in need.
It's a big day at this elementary school in San Francisco. The students, many who live below the poverty line, can take whatever they need for free. No questions asked. The event is the brainchild of Del Farid Fanay and her nonprofit Moms Against Poverty.
We have to bring some light that especially after the pandemic, the suffering of the families has increased.
To say there's a need would be, a dramatic understatement.
Fanay's decision to help underserved children came after a visit to an orphanage in her home country of Iran. Soon after, she and several other mothers banded together to form Moms Against Poverty to help fill the global need.
We believe that every child, regardless of where they are born, they deserve to have access to basic provision, education, and health.
So far, the nonprofit has aided more than 2.5 million individuals in 16 countries and helped to establish more than 170 schools. Nevertheless, Fanay's primary focus remains at home in the U.S.
One of the 5 children in the U.S. goes hungry to bed.
As a result, Moms Against Poverty provides hygiene products and healthy food to schools in need, even installing freezers and washers and dryers for them.
I am a really total believer that we can make a better world if we come together.
I'm Leslie Hudson reporting.
All right, guys, time check, 6:44. Unfortunately, the morning commute has taken a turn for the worse. Let's get a look there at I-10 at Escondido Creek. You can see that traffic is turned into a parking lot out there. This is in the eastbound lanes of I-10, and I just spoke with our friends at TransGuide a little bit earlier. They are working on several incidents right now, so the commute, again, not looking good. We do know that this is a crash reported. So what we're going to do now is start with a wide look at our map. We have 4 active crashes reported. You can see them in and around the Alamo City. Not a pretty sight, unfortunately. We're going to first start here, though. We still have that 18-wheeler that has been, that looks like it hit the guardrail out there at 35 southbound at New Laredo Highway. First responders are working to get that scene cleared up, but we still have a little bit of a buildup taking place. So just expect that to linger around probably up until 7 a.m. We'll watch it very closely, but let's hope everyone's doing okay. Taking you up here, though, a new crash reported at 35 southbound at US 90, a very busy spot. As you can see, we have a lot of yellow building up out there, so that shows us that traffic's coming to a slowdown. This is not reported as a major crash, so again, let's hope everyone's doing okay, but traffic is starting to pick up and it's not looking good out there. Let's take you now over here to that crash you just saw there at I-10 eastbound at loop 1604. This is going to impact anyone that's heading in the eastbound lanes, and you can clearly see that right there on the map. We do know that a lot of folks tend to head out towards Seguin around this time as well for work or maybe to just visit anybody. This will impact your drive time, and again, we're not sure of any injuries, but we hope everyone is doing okay. We do know that one driver was not injured here, though, at an 18-wheeler rollover crash reported at 35 northbound at Loop 410. This is along the Axis Road, and at last check, it does still appear that first responders are working to clear this up. Unfortunately, we did anticipate this, Justin. This is not a pretty sight, but we're going to be keeping our viewers updated on the commute, and of course, the weather. We can expect this to also kind of linger around a little longer.
You're right, Stephen. We're still seeing waves of rain coming into San Antonio, and there's been pockets of heavy rain. We have a new flash flood warning, not for San Antonio, but for Atascosa County and into Karnes County. That's where we showed you we had a flood advisory earlier that has been upgraded to a flash flood warning, and we've seen some radar estimates around 6 inches of rain. It's in this area right here. And what is happening is we're getting some of that training effect. And so that tends to pile up the rain, and you're getting some pretty big numbers here, especially along Interstate 37 near Campbellton, just south of that, actually right over the city of Campbellton. So you may be seeing some street flooding there. And I'll switch it over to the rainfall estimates one more time to show you just how much rain the radar thinks has fallen there. And where you see these purple colors, that is quite a bit. And let's see, estimates of 6 inches, 6 to 7 inches of rain. Welcome rain, but we don't want the flash flooding. So if you're in the city of Campbellton, keep that in mind. You've got flash flood warnings, and there is more rain on the way. Estimated rainfall totals really do drop off as you head up towards Bexar County and San Antonio. But we're starting to see the numbers pick up some, and the airport is likely going to pick up a little bit more rain. You can see there are some streaks here where we've picked up maybe close to an inch of rain, which is great. We just have to be really careful out there on the road. So let's switch back over to the radar and show you what's moving into San Antonio right now. We have another area down here to the south and west that is beginning to pick up, and this is going to work across the city here over the next hour or so. Everything's moving kind of in this direction like that. So this will move over downtown and really kind of cover most of the city right in the heart of the commute, and Stephen told you just how busy it is out there. So just know that as you walk out the door, you may want the umbrella. You want the coat too, because it is chilly. We do need to look over at some of these heavier storms that we have going on across our southeastern counties as well. Floresville, you're seeing some very heavy rain. You already got a lot of heavy rain this morning, and now we're adding on to that. So would not be a surprise if we start to see some flood advisories there across Wilson County. And then as you go up near Karnes City and Falls City, some heavy rain there. And the northeastern parts of Karnes County seeing a heavy shower and storm there. That'll work its way towards Smiley here over the next hour. And we are seeing lightning strikes with most of this activity, and that includes this little cell here north of Elmendorf along 181, an area that has already picked up some good rain. So bottom line, be prepared for these passing showers and storms today. I want to show you a picture coming out of Seguin. Look at that. They had some bigger hail last night, but there was a lot of it. Almost covered the ground, looked like snow at some point. We're getting a lot of pictures coming out of Seguin, and that was busy there last night. The forecast for today keeps rain in the picture basically all day long. We're talking about an 80% chance with these passing showers and storms. As we get into tonight, same story even into tomorrow. This shows a little bit of a break tomorrow morning, but showers fill right back in. And on Fridays, probably more in the form of showers and less thunderstorms, but still rain around through the day. It's not until Friday night that we start to take the rain chances out. 70% to 80% throughout today. Keep in mind, temperatures will only warm into the low to mid 50s. That's it. And as we get into tomorrow, pretty much the same story. How much rain can we see in total? Well, 1 to 3 inches on average, but we showed you there are some places that are seeing much, much more than that. So we'll have to watch for the threat for flooding today, and we'll be following that closely. We will salvage a good Easter weekend. 70 on Saturday, 74 Sunday. Some small rain chances coming up Monday and Tuesday. And yes, we're about to go over to Good Morning America, but we have plans to be live on the KSAT weather app if you want to join us there. Right now we're planning to go on about 7:30. Steven's going to join me, and you can follow us digitally on the app if you want to continue to follow some of these storms.
Okay.
We'll watch closely. Thank you, Justin.
Right now, 6:51, 50 degrees.
With tax filing season here coming up tomorrow on GMSA, we're going to tell you about the tax return mistakes that could get you flagged for an audit.
Outside with Live Cam. Thanks for starting your day with us here on GMSA as we take a live look at a very wet camera lens looking towards Loop 410 and San Antonio International Airport.
Good morning. Coming up, I'll be tracking that dangerous storm moving east this morning following another round of tornadoes that have left at least 5 people dead. I'll tell you where this storm is headed next. Also this morning, the new potential trouble for Donald Trump as former Vice President Pence moves closer to testifying about January 6th. Those stories and so much more coming up right here on GMA.
Word is we have an update on one of our longest running accidents this morning.
Let's go ahead and check back with Stephen Cavazos.
Things are moving a little bit better in certain areas, guys, but other problems still remain. First one we're going to start off here is with 35 at New Laredo Highway. This is that big rig that looks like it hit a guardrail. Earlier, it looked like it was almost dangling there, but thankfully, first responders were able to put that back on the roadway. Let's hope we'll have a resolution there soon. But as you see, the map is very active. We have several crashes that have been reported in our area. And of course, we're going to start there, 35 southbound, where we have that crash that's led to some big delays for drivers near New Laredo Highway. Let's hope we'll see some progress soon. But as we take you back up over here, I-10 eastbound at Loop 1604, that crash has still been reported, leading to some delays. We showed you a shot on TransGuide. Things weren't looking too good out there for drivers. We'll have to watch that throughout the morning as well. But the good progress here, that 18-wheeler rollover that was reported way earlier in the morning, does look like first responders have been able to make some progress and move that 18-wheeler and get it back upright. We'll watch this throughout the morning, but Justin, it's going to be a busy morning for sure.
It will be. More heavy rain starting to move into the city of San Antonio. They're on the southwest side. This will work its way across the city with some lightning strikes and pockets of heavy rain, which will cause more issues on the roads. You see the heavy rain there around Floresville. We need to mention flash flood warning for Atascosa County and parts of Karnes County. This is going to go until 10 o'clock this morning. Rain most of the day today. More rain chances coming up tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, Justin. Y'all be safe out there.
Updates throughout Good Morning America. Have a good one.